Hey guys, so I got a cool custom dual monitor setup here. I built some custom brackets that allow you to fold the monitors together for transport. On the bottom of the brackets here, we have the tripod adapter. So this will elevate the monitors and give you a nice level line of sight view of the monitors. So when you pull this out of the box, it's going to look like this. You got your tripod adapter on the bottom there. It's going to be super simple to set up. You just slide this, get your tripod set up first, of course, then you just slide this adapter mount right onto the tripod here. You're going to want to turn this little guy to loosen that little safety tab, and then you're going to just want to tighten this little nut right here on the right side. So after that's set up, all you have to do is fold these monitors out just like this. You can loosen the brackets here at the top and bottom. This is just a toggle screw right here. Once you're in a position that you like, just go ahead and tighten that up. And then since it's sunny out, you're going to want to use your sunshade hoods. So you got two sunshade hoods here. Just open these up. These just attach to the monitors with a simple Velcro right along the outside. Just place these on, just like that. On the back side of the monitor here, when you fold it out, you're going to want to take each pair of video reception antennas and point those up. That's going to get you the best signal on the GoPro and the Flir. The next thing that you're going to want to do is plug in your battery pack. You have your banana adapter right here. Super simple. Plugs in just like that. And now we're ready to go. So we're going to flip this back around. If you need to make any fine-tuned adjustments, you can loosen the head of the tripod here and get it set where you want. To power the monitors on, simply press the power button on each. You can see I got a video signal here. I got a video signal here. My quad's already on. Cameras are powered up. I got the video signal and I'm good to go. We got the quad set up here. One thing that you're going to have to do when you take it out of the case is you're going to have to put the props on. There's two different types of props, and then there's two different types of prop nuts. Each of the prop nuts is a self-tightening nut. One's clockwise, one's counterclockwise. So you're going to want to make sure that you have your prop nuts installed just like this. Silver, black, black, silver. And then your props will have a label on them for M1, M2, M3, and M4 motors. So it'll be real easy to match up the props with the motors, nuts with the props. So next thing that you want to do, just as a general safety thing, is just make sure that you're in a nice wide open area. If you have traveled more than 20 miles from your last flight, you're going to want to do a compass calibration. So I'm going to show you how to power this up and do that calibration real quick. So before you power up, we have what's called a low voltage alarm. This is going to trigger an alarm if any one of the 6 cells in the battery pack goes below a certain voltage threshold in flight. So you just, this is useful for your flight times, protects your battery from being drained too far. So plug this in. You're going to set it so one end is set to the outside. If it doesn't turn on, then you just got to flip it over. There's only one way to plug this in. You can see that that just powered on, and now it's reading my voltage level on the pack. So next thing that we're going to do is make sure our radio is turned on. That's not turned on yet, so we always want to make sure we power the radio on first. Our radio is on. Now for this compass calibration, down here on the gimbal, you're going to want to turn off the gimbal. So that's this red switch right here at the top of the gimbal. You just flip that to the off position. We're going to go ahead and plug this in and let this fire up. And you can see that the flight controller has an LED here on the back of the quadcopter, and that's going to illuminate certain colors to tell us what's going on. So to initialize our compass calibration, what we're going to do with our radio is over here on the radio where we have our flight mode switch, we have GPS, attitude, and manual. We're going to go ahead and flip between GPS and manual 6 times to enter into our compass calibration mode. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. 4, 5, 6. You can see that the orange light came on. So that means that we're in compass calibration mode right now. So what we're gonna do first is pick up the quad straight up like this, and we're gonna go ahead and rotate it horizontally 360 degrees. So this is going to record the magnetic field in our area. So the first spin, horizontal 360 degrees, you can see that the light just turned green. That means that we just completed the first calibration. Now we're going to do the second calibration, and to do that we just need to tip the quad over forward 90 degrees, and then we're going to rotate the quadcopter one full 360 degree rotation at this angle. You can see that we completed the calibration. If you are in a hurry and need to get this thing up in the air, you don't have to do the compass calibration, but it's a good practice if you have the time to do it, especially if you're in a new area. It's just a good practice to do to record your area's magnetic declination. Our LED blinking amber right now, which means that we're in attitude mode. If we're in GPS mode, we'll flip this switch over to GPS, and you can see that the LED light turned green, so now we're in GPS mode. I'm going to go ahead and take off in attitude mode. So attitude mode is just going to be a stabilized mode without the GPS positioning function. So you can see one mistake that I already made. I forgot to turn my gimbal on. So let's go ahead and fire the gimbal up. It's just this power button right here on the back. That's going to calibrate. You want to make sure it's as still as possible. That's going to fire on just like that. So now the gimbal's fired on. We're going to do a quick check of the tilt of the gimbal. You can see that the camera is now tilting down and tilting up, so we're good. After you have your gimbal powered on, you want to verify that your cameras are both on and recording. For the Flir, you're going to be recording off of the FPV on the monitor. For the GoPro, if you want to record directly off that camera, you're going to have to press the record button on the GoPro camera. So let's go over and check our FPV system and make sure that we got a video signal. So go over here. We're looking good. It looks like we got our Flir Infrared video signal here on the left monitor, and then we have our GoPro signal here on the right monitor, and then we have our DVR video recorder here on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and hit record on the Flir channel. If we wanted to switch between these two, we could hit the switch button here. We could switch to the GoPro. We could switch to a picture-in-picture, so we have the Flir and a small box with the GoPro footage. So we could record it like that, or we could flip that around and have the GoPro be the main picture in the back and the Flir be the small picture in the corner. We're going to go ahead and flip it back to the Flir. I'm going to hit record. And so now we're recording, and this is looking good. You can see that there's a building in the background here that we use to stage. So we're going to go ahead and fly up the quad and take a look at the building from the air. So I'm going to go ahead, sticks in, down, arm the quad. We're going to go ahead and take off. So I'm going to set my throttle to about 50%. That's going to give us a nice altitude hold. I'm in attitude mode right now, so if there was a light breeze, the quad would have a tendency to move a little bit with the wind. So if you want to maintain the quad in one position, go ahead and flip that into GPS mode, which I just did. So I flipped my flight controller to GPS mode, and now my quad is going to try, my flight controller is going to maintain that position the best that it can with the GPS signal that's available. So right now you can see on the monitor that we're just looking straight out at the horizon. We're not looking down at the building yet because I haven't tilted the camera down yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and tilt the camera down. And you can see that we got a little bit of the back of the building here. I'm gonna tilt down a little bit more. There's the top of the building. So I'm gonna rotate the quad to the left just a little bit so we can get that framed up a little bit better. And I'm gonna bring the quad back to us just a little bit so we can see the front of the building. So there's the front of the building. You can see there's a nice little heat signature coming off of the roof. I'm gonna go ahead and gain some altitude to see if we can frame up the whole building. So I'm gonna put my throttle stick just above 50%. It's gonna have a nice gradual ascent. So that looks pretty good right there. I'm gonna go ahead and hold 50% throttle, maintain that altitude. So you can see we got a nice little heat signature off of the roof of the building, and then we can see the color live image off the GoPro camera. That looks really good as well. So this is real useful to identify any odd situations that may be going on for fire and rescue, or for locating a heat signature that you're trying to spot. So I'm gonna have Hans go ahead and walk into the frame. We'll see if we can pick him up. Oh, there he is. I can't see him too good on the GoPro footage, but I can see him really well on the Flir. You can see him, he's walking right around the building right there. It's a real nice clean signal. I'm gonna go ahead and fly forward just a little bit. So there he is right there. I can see him, he's good. And when you're flying, you always want to make sure that you're flying line of sight. You don't want to get too used to flying off of the monitor. It's a good practice to reference where you're looking with the camera. But it would be best if the pilot was flying line of sight and a spotter was viewing the camera and giving directions on which way to fly. Now obviously, you want to make sure that there's no other air traffic in the area. You don't want to be flying next to tall buildings or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and lose some elevation here. I'm going to decrease our altitude. I'm going to bring the stick down below 50% throttle. So that's going to tell the flight controller that we need to descend now. So we're going to go into a nice gradual descent. You see I'm just about where the building is. I've raised the throttle just a little bit to hold that altitude. Tilt the camera up just a little bit more. So you can see I got a nice front view of the building. Looks real good. You want to get a shot of the front of the quad? Go ahead and I'm going to rotate this towards us. You can see the Flir and the GoPro is stabilized by the gimbal. It's keeping the cameras both level to the horizon. You can see that as we rotate the quad, the gimbal will follow the quad's rotation. Nice and controlled. It's a real smooth machine. Relatively easy to fly. I'm going to go ahead and bring it in for a landing. Nice gradual descent. So this is a nice controlled, easy landing right here. And once you touch the ground, just drop the throttle all the way down. The motors will disarm and we can go ahead and unplug our battery pack. So that's it, guys. It's a great little machine. Had a real fun time putting this one together. Really impressed with the way it works. I think you guys are going to really like it.